when the stock market crashed and the hobos, we had freight trains that bisected the town, and at the end of the town was a water station, so the trains would stop for 20 minutes, and I can remember those cars reverberating. There was a long freight train, and eventually they had the hobos all over the train. So every day we'd go down, wave to the hobos. The train stayed about 20 minutes, and the hobos marked telephone poles with this cat with whiskers, so that they would know who would feed them. So they would come to our house. My mother would make a whole loaf of bread, and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I was in the kitchen, and she let me take it right there to the back door, and she said, "These are not bad men, they just don't have jobs." So they would stick their head in and bless my mother. They would say, "Thank you, ma'am. God bless you, ma'am," because they had a whole loaf of bread, and they would take it back to the train, and about that time the train would take off again. She put people and family and friends above money. She did.
She was very understanding, and this is an example of how understanding she was. Ken Hughes was my next door neighbor, and he and his wife Lucy were in Ms. Powell's classes like I was. And Ken's father had tuberculosis and was in bed, and Ken sold ice, and he couldn't always be, or sometimes he had to be absent from school. Mm-hmm. Well, Miss Powell was so understanding that she let him make up his exams and his tests that a lot of teachers wouldn't have done.
Your mom volunteered, or was she a
She
nurse?
volunteered to take care of the sick students. When she was 17 or 18, I don't think she knew, well, I guess she knew she could get the flu, but she didn't get the flu. Mm-hmm. But that was a very generous-hearted thing to do, to take care of those students sick with the flu.
Well, my fondest remembrance of her is when she was a baby, and I guess those birthdays when I would be the only one there. But I've always loved Sophia, and I still do.
Mm-hmm. They were the youngest professors. The other people knew their way around. They were older. They were like in their early 30s. Professor Hook and all the fathers of my friends were connected to the college. They were teachers. And my father was young. He was like 20. So my mother made a special effort that I would get to know the girls of the neighborhood. And I did, and we became a gang. That's a picture of our gang. And we bossed we were the hot stuff. We bossed everybody around. And Edith's father was the head of the chemistry department. Yeah, they just lived right across the street from us. But in the summer, they would sit on their front porch. They had a big front porch around a big old house, and laugh and laugh. We'd hear them telling jokes down there. Said the Brownocks are telling jokes again. They'd laugh all summer. It was very cute.
I can see her standing in her crib now.
Really?
And talking to me, like telling me to go home. And also, the porch and your house has been moved to East College Avenue, and it looks like it grew there, and that's the way
Looks
it's
like it
supposed
belonged
to
there,
look.
doesn't it?
Exactly. All right. The big old front porch and had banisters, and they had a gate up there so Sophia wouldn't get out. And I'd be going on the sidewalk across the road,
Yeah.
going up to Miss Annie's, that's Miss Lawrence's or somewhere, and Sophia would step up on the bottom of the banister and yell out to me, "Ear, Ear, where are you going?" And I can just see her little face over there. "Where are you going?"
There were 4 of them and only one of me. I was an only child for 11 years, so everything took place at their jungle gym. And I was a little jealous of that because they never came to my house. Except I had a slide, but nobody ever slid on it.
Was Maude really kind to your friends? I mean, she was
Oh, yeah, they just... Yeah, very kind. And Sarah Virginia Hook, the Hooks was 4 daughters, thought my mother was wonderful as a teacher. Irene Hook, the next girl, was older than we were, thought she was wonderful, and she would come and get advice from my mother. Then Jean, who was my age, was my best friend. One day we cut our wrists so that we would be forever sisters.
Oh, there you go.
No, not very much.
Just a little bit of blood.
We did. We mixed our blood together. The college had this faucet, you know, that you drinking faucet out of the mill. So Jean and I turned it up to max. It would go 20 feet in the air. And we hid while this woman came and turned it on, about drowned her. So we left in a hurry. We pulled a few deals.
How many was in the gang altogether? Looks like up top
7.
there about.
I guess 7, 5 or 6 or 7.
I love
That
the
was our
captain.
gang.
Little
You know,
rascals.
Shouldn't put this in there,
The
but
one with zeros, they thought were
Huh?
kids, so they didn't put the names in the pictures. Your
No,
little
they're
caption
here.
there says,
yeah, they are here with numbers.
no, the ones that have zeros, the smaller children,
Oh,
the caption.
it says here they didn't count.
They're
It
little
said
kids.
we considered them babies. Some of them didn't count. They really didn't. They weren't our gang.
I really
You
got
were-
a fond place in my heart for Sophia.
Contemporary, more of a contemporary for her.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we were near the same age. Oh, and I didn't tell you. Sophia used to be on the back porch of your house ironing the diapers for you boys. And she said when you got to be a certain age, and I've forgotten what age, she was going to charge you 10 cents apiece.
Oh,
Good story.
that's a good one. She probably didn't enjoy that too much.
No, but she was just ironing away.
Ironing diapers. I didn't even know you ironed diapers.
I didn't either, but she did.
Several of the fathers were professors. We rode our bikes through the administration building and stopped by to see Jean's father and Helen Margaret's father. Just riding our bikes. It was dark and wide. There was nobody there. Rode our bicycles right through the college. We thought we owned that college. But one day, they had a dormitory here and a dormitory over here, and our house was here. And at night, I went out to go to see my friend. I ran into an electric wire, and I couldn't get away from that wire. And I finally did. They had stretched the wire. The students had stretched it between those buildings. And the electrician the next day said that should have killed me, but it didn't.
So you were electrocuted or just tangled in?
Well, I couldn't. It was sizzling, and I couldn't get away from it. But somehow I got away. It was dark. I couldn't see. And all of a sudden, this wire sizzled, and I'm entangled in it. I don't know how I got away from it, but I did. Anyhow, I lived through it. Yeah, I went to camp in the mountains. I was a bugler, so the camp was $1 a day. And all of us went. We were 13 and 14, and none of us had any money. So all of my friends from Elon College, and the people who came from Georgia, it was $1 a day, but we didn't have that. So I was a bugler. I got free. They worked in the kitchen. They served the plates. They washed the dishes. all these professors' kids, we all had to work. But mine was the best job. I was the bugler.
Still got that bugle?
Huh?
You still got that?
No, I'd like to have it. I don't know who has my bugle. I would like to have that bugle.
But I have many fond memories of my mother. She stopped teaching school the year I was born, 1936. And so she was a stay-at-home mom during my early years. Although she was very much active in supporting my father at the family business, Carolina Biological Supply Company. And I remember that she would sew oilcloth into little containers, and Carolina Biological would use those oilcloth bags to ship preserved zoological materials to schools.
Why should all the brilliant professors have to go out and get their frogs and cats? And so he decided that they shouldn't have to do that he would start a little company in our backyard that would furnish frogs, cats, whatever they needed in biology classes to everybody in the whole United States. But this started very small. We started in our backyard. And then he would go he'd go to the mountains and he would always get free stuff. He'd go to the mountains and get these Venus flytraps that, just pick them. And then he would go to the ocean and get, what did they get, sharks and things down there. And they were all free too. You get to go to the ocean and you get free sharks and dogfish. They sold a lot of dogfish. By this time he had big barrels. I started working for him making slides when I was 13 or 14. Yeah, it was becoming a more well-known place then. And they call the Carolina Biological Supply Company the cat house. They didn't know what that meant. The whole town said, "We're going down to the cat house and look for my cat." And it was a very unsophisticated Southern community in many respects. They didn't know what a cat house was. I didn't either. I guess you guys know, huh?
I've only heard people talk about it.
Same here.